husband and I, we were talking about this, and like when you identify with something and what's your identity, and when you stamp an identity to something. And so I've really been thinking about this a lot. I have a kind of an eclectic background and my own weird, like whatever it is. So I was raised Catholic. And then I was in high school and I met this really like cute skater guy that was atheist, and then that just took over my brain, right? But it was interesting because he had really smart parents, and I sat and I would listen to them talk, and I'm like, these are really smart people, and they're really informed. And so that kind of, I went on a road where I studied religions for a while, but not to find, not to search out a faith, but if nothing else, to disprove all faiths. So if that makes sense. And because, in my young teenage brain, that's kind of what you do, right? And then I had a kind of a weird turn of events in my life, and then I became LDS, which is Mormon. And I was that for a long time. And then, like, things in my life, that was kind of me trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. I loved my friends and I loved my community and the people in it, but I was always like trying to fit something into something that didn't always fit, if that makes sense. And no harm, no foul, nothing bad. And so then I, COVID hit, and so it kind of gives everybody like a chance to breathe a little bit. And during that breathing time that I was like, oh, it was like a new definition of myself kind of emerged in that, if that makes sense. I used to refer to myself as the LDS Buddhist. So if you ever saw me on Insight Timer, that was my nickname. So then Chris and I, we were talking about this thing about our identity. What's your identity? What's your identity? What do you identify with? What do you identify with? And so you have your nationality, right? Or you have your gender, or you have your vocation, you have your demography in some way or another, right? You have these like stamps of identifying yourself. And we went to a float pod, and I was kind of thinking about this concept, and I started to remember when I was vegan, and I had a vegan restaurant, and I had some friends that for Thanksgiving, they invited us over for Thanksgiving, and they tried to make me a vegan turducken. Do you get the turducken thing? It's like a chicken and a duck and a turkey, and right, but he did one for me that was vegan with like a butternut squash and an eggplant and a zucchini or something like that. And he worked really, really hard on it. Why did he do that? He worked really hard on it because that was my identity at the time, okay? So we flip through things. Right? I was in elementary school, right? And I was an elementary school student. And I flipped through things, right? I lived in Illinois. I'm from Chicago. When I'm with other people from Chicago, boy, does this nasally thing come out strong. And then it's like, right? Because my identity will mirror back to that time. And so, but I'm not from Chicago anymore. I've lived in Arizona since I was 14 years old. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, so I'm an Arizonan. I'm, right? And then what we go through when we go through these like shifts in our identity is we take fragments of those portions of our identity, and they drag forward with us, and they create flavor and like just the essence of everything that is. And it's cool, right? And it doesn't mean that you need to stick to something and you need to say, I am, and then fill in the blanks, okay? Because when we get stuck in that I am, and then you fill in the blank on that, then it gives you very little room to be able to see everybody else where they're coming from, and for you to be fluid enough to appreciate where their come from is, which is why we used to have those circling classes, because that was the whole purpose behind that, so we could understand everybody else's come from. So I share all that with you tonight because I think right now I don't watch the news. Everybody knows that. I think the news is as evil as it can be. We have a friend that he lives in LA, And so we asked him this morning about the riots because we wanted to know what was really going on. Why did I ask him that? Because during COVID time, Chris and I went to Oregon, and I don't know if anybody remembers this, but during that time they were having riots in Portland, right? And they were, when you watch the news, they were really bad. But Chris and I went to Portland during that, and Chris was like, "We're not driving into Portland. Like, we will get killed if we drive into Portland." And I'm like, "There's like a discount REI up there. Like, we're going to Portland. Like, I'm not going to not do that." And so we drove around, and we just saw a bunch of stay-at-home moms with like BLM posters and strollers, and I saw a planter knocked over. I did see that. And there was a couple things that I saw, but it wasn't the drama that the news wanted us to see. Yes, there were people protesting. Yes, there were people passionate about something, but it wasn't what the news wanted us to see. Does that make sense? Yes. And so I asked Matt today, I'm like, "How bad is it?" You know, because he's like right in LA. And so he has to kind of drive around certain areas. And he's like, "It's mostly stay-at-home moms with kids and strollers." And he's like, there are some, it's more peaceful than what you see. It's much more peaceful than what you see. And so that's an identity, right? Like, we're going to get attached to this identity of something, and we're going to get lost in the nuances of these things that are happening. And it doesn't mean that they're not scary, and it doesn't mean that things are not hard for people. It means we need to have a broader perspective and not be so attached to a fake I am. Okay? Does that make sense? Because when we get stuck and attached to a fake I am, because your I am is going to change. I never, ever thought that I'd go through and be able to walk through that theology route that I went through in my life, right? And so, but it doesn't mean that's not me, but it also means that it is not me. Does that make sense? So when we get stuck in these ideologies on things, that's when we start to get really negative and things get real bad. So as we're kind of doing as our meditation tonight, we're going back to the witnessing the witnesser meditation. I started it a couple weeks ago, and tonight we're going to go into it again. We're still just going to do 1, 2. We're not at 3 yet. What week are we at? Yep, okay, tonight we'll start to go into the number 3, but we won't go deep into number 3. Who's never meditated? Let's start there. Okay, that's all right. Just follow along. And then who's done the witnessing the witnesser meditation with me before? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay, so just in way of review, super quick on this, there's me, and I'm meditating. And then there's me following my breath. Then there's me, thought bubble. Okay? Then there's this other part of me that I have choice. I can play with the thought bubble and become the thought bubble and start interacting with the thought bubble and like making that my game, or I can just view the thought bubble, okay? And I can just look at it and I can see it for what it is. And it's like I can look at myself sitting here and I can look at the thought bubble, okay? Does that make sense? This is the number 1 stage. The number 2 stage is, or it should be actually the number 3 stages, but you'll follow along. There's this little guy here of me, and then there's this one here. This one here is watching this witnesser. Okay, we're just gonna kind of dip our toe into that this week, and then we'll go deeper into that next week. Okay, questions? Concerns? Okay. The other thing that we talked about in the first week of meditation this month is like proper form and alignment with it. So, and it's just so that we don't have a sloppy meditation. You know, we want to be really focused on getting in there good. So if you are not comfortable in your skin, if your back is hurting, if there's anything like that, then you're welcome to sit in a chair. Otherwise, we're just going to kind of sit up nice and tall so that the central channel can, you know, cruise easily, and that prana can move up and down nice and easily and smooth. So there will be some guidance and then there will be some quiet. The invitation is to refrain from judging and playing with the thoughts and just looking at them. It's just like looking at it, like it's a science experiment, like it's in a petri dish, okay? All right, everybody sit up nice and tall. And go ahead and let your eyes close softly. It's good to check in with how tight those eyelids are closed, right? If they closed too tight, it'll cause tension. And while you're at it, loosening up your eyelids, you can also loosen up your forehead. Check in with your jaw now and see what's going on with that. Does it feel like it's too tight? Does it feel like it's like you're grimacing at all? Give it a little bit of love. Let it soften, let it loosen. The head and neck are tall, but the chin is slightly tucked. Shoulders are back. The spine is long. And the palms can either be palms face up. You can have them palms face down, but I think it feels a little bit nicer to receive if you can. And if you want to have chin mudra with your thumb and index finger, so let's all just take a nice deep breath in. Inhale. Audibly let it out. You notice how that feels, right? Because I talk about this all the time. It's important to notice that. Let's do that again. Inhale. Audible out. It's almost like a gift from one spirit to the next, giving a nice bath to your central nervous system. So being aware of the whatever's supporting you underneath your bottom and feeling that support, and then the weight of your hips pressing down into either the chair or the bolster. And then working up from that, again, kind of tapping back into the spine one more time. And the chest and the neck, chin. Checking back in with the jaw, tongue. And then let's just rest our awareness at the tip of our nose. Allow yourself to be very aware of the inhales and the exhales and the feeling of the cold air versus the warm air. So reconnecting with your inner self for a moment. It can be easier to do that if you pull your imaginary gaze point up to your third eye. So I invite you to create any form of a screen or an image that when a thought enters the mind, it can just gently be projected there. So rather than letting it be in the mind, it's as if we're just pushing it one step out so that you can look at it rather than interact with it. It's like an omniscient view of the story that's going on in your mind. Leaving judgment behind, leaving analyzing behind, critiquing of any form is not welcome in this space. And if nothing comes up, that's okay too. If you're struggling to even see a thought, the first invitation is to watch yourself breathing, watching yourself breathe in and out through the tip of your nose. Now, I am inviting you to take a step even further back. This is the watching yourself. Watch. It's as if you are in that movie theater and the thoughts that are coming up are on the screen. And you are in the movie theater, back a ways in the middle row, watching your thoughts as they come in, as they go out. And then there is one more part of you that will pull out one step further to view yourself witnessing. This vantage point is pure compassion, pure love. It is the view that you would have if you were watching your own creation. And remembering that this is a practice. So it's okay if you accidentally start to engage with the thought again. And you catch that. And then you put it back on the screen. And then you view it. And then you work to pull yourself back again, viewing yourself, viewing it. Just come back to our nose again. And even just the simplicity of watching yourself breathe in and out. Start to loosen up your body a little bit, your spine and your neck, your hands. And just let your eyes be the last thing to come back. Okay. How was that? Anybody want to give any kind of experience? I would love to know.
I was able to relate it. Okay, so it helped when you said movie theater, because then I just imagined sitting behind myself and then sitting behind that person.
I like that.
But then also it made me think about, okay, I don't know if anyone watches The Office, but in The Office there is a scenario where Michael is like going out to the woods to like be like Bear Grylls or something, like, and he has like a digital camera that he's recording himself on, so like he's talking to this camera. Then Dwight stays there to spy on him to make sure he doesn't like die. So Dwight is watching Michael, like Michael's talking to the camera. Then there's the actual camera crew watching the whole thing. So it's like
That's awesome.
Like, thinking like, okay, I'm Michael. Like, yeah. So that was
I love it. Okay, in all of that.
Yeah. So it was.
How was your meditation?
It was good. Yeah. Like, so I had to start being like, okay, stop thinking about The Office. Like,
Right.
guys,
That's all right. Watch yourself watching The Office.
Yeah, like my life is consumed by The Office, so it can stay out of
It's okay. It's all right. Okay.
But yeah, it was easier to get back to it because of the movie theater thing.
Okay, good.
Just like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good. Yeah. Good. When you viewed yourself, viewing yourself, did you notice anything different inside of yourself? Did you feel anything different?
I felt warm.
Okay.
Because I feel like I know myself really well, so like I wasn't like being hard on myself or judging myself.
Good.
And I think just from coming here so much, I already have those other tools of like, if I start to drift, I'll like go to my happy place, or I'll focus on my heartbeat, or like I'll pull these tools I've learned to help me learn this new tool. So
Good.
yeah,
Okay.
I felt really like in my stomach super warm.
Okay. I love that. Thank you.
Yes.
Perfect. Anybody else want to share anything? Yes, Treasure.
I've experienced the movie theater before, but this time I could like see my person sitting in the movie theater. But I was like stiff, like I was like trying to focus and pay attention, and then at one point I felt like I was watching the person watching, and they relaxed, and I just felt like like peace in my heart, like compassion for them trying so hard to focus, but then just all of a sudden watching me just evolve or become whatever, just with compassion, not any judgment.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
So how did that feel?
Just felt like lightness in my heart, like I was trying so hard to figure something out, and then all of a sudden it was just like I could just see myself watching myself being like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Isn't that cool? It's cool when we I don't know, we discover the simplicity of something, you know, because that's not complicated, but that's your experience, and it took you a whole way to get to it, and then it's like it's really simple, but you can't explain it to another person. They have to figure it out on their own. So cool. Hang on to that. Who's doing? Yes.
I feel like for me, it was kind of an easier way of like setting into a place of like surrendering, especially like when you said to like kind of like look at that person with like compassion, and like the thought that had like first come to my mind, it's definitely like something that I know I need to like surrender, and it really helped me get to that place and just feeling like kind of like just feeling warm and at peace.
Yeah. Cool. I love that compassion, because that's hard, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else?
I was able to kind of silence my mind, and I went to the Kundalini Satnam, and I was able to lift out, and I was able to kind of see myself sitting there, and then I was able to kind of pull out to another level, and then I started to struggle because I didn't know what view to take. So it was kind of like I was trying to mentally, am I looking at myself in my face? Am I looking at myself from my side? I mean, I can see myself sitting here, and then I could see myself seeing myself, but I was looking at the back of my head. And then when I got to that third level, I couldn't figure out how to get a frontal view. I mean, I know what I look like. I look in the mirror, right? But it's like I kept pulling myself back to just kind of view myself from above and behind. I found that to like, and I tried to pull myself to the front, and it just wouldn't go. I was elevated, so I found that to be interesting.
That is interesting.
Worth
Yeah.
exploring.
Yeah, that is worth exploring. It definitely is. I found myself wanting to give myself a thought, because I've been really working to be in it's not stillness, but in like one thing with my meditation. It's my breath, or it's the heart, or something like that, and just be with that, you know. And then like I've worked really hard to do that, so I had to like throw something up on the screen. I noticed I had to like give myself a thought, you know. And did you do that too?
Yeah, I had a really hard time just sticking with it. So
Yeah.
I just kept bringing myself back to my breath.
Yeah.
Whenever my brain was just going everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just focus on my breathing.
Almost too many thoughts to be able to go, oh, should I look at this one, or should I? Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you have to pick, like for me, I just had to pick an object, like just random object to actually focus on, to think about.
Yeah.
And then I kept seeing, you know, those funhouse mirrors where you can see infinity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just in this like mirror infinity loop, but I was like, okay, I'm looking at this apple. Okay, that was my object I could clearly see. And then I saw myself holding the apple. And then I saw myself looking at myself holding the apple. Then I saw myself thinking about what I was thinking about the apple. So it just kept becoming this like continual loop of getting further and further and further away from the object. And that seemed to help me stay focused on not really thinking about anything else but that item. That
Yeah. That's good practice. It's good practice.
Felt my body like going back, like at some point.
Oh, really? Like drifting back. That's cool too. That's cool too. Yeah. So this week, this is kind of personal, but but obviously I share everything that's personal with you guys. But I was doing practice with my husband, and I was just kind of like, we're just kind of holding each other, and there's this practice to this, and I would notice that if I got distracted and I thought about something else, I could feel my body literally, like my spirit almost like leave the presence of what we were trying to do. And then I go, oh, I'm like way over here. And I could feel it. Like I could feel myself all the way back there. And it's like, oh, I got to come back here and then get back here. And so I don't know how often we do that. I think we do that more than we think, you know? And we are literally, we're present. I'm here with you physically, but when you're talking to somebody, you can tell sometimes you're like, are you listening to anything I'm saying? But even in like how much are we in it? Do you know what I mean? Like how deep are we in it? So practice of that. Yes, Chris.
I've done the movie theater before, but
yeah.
I recognize how I was in the movie so much of the time.
Yeah.
And I'm literally sitting here trying not to be in the movie.
Right.
And I still am catching myself in the movie. So when I'm focused on it, being outside the movie and pulling back, I can pull back when I recognize it, but it's like I'm in the movie all of a sudden and I don't even realize it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh shoot, I'm
yeah.
in the movie again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So when I'm so focused on not being in the movie, how much of the time when
yes.
I'm in the movie?
Exactly. This is the point. This is the whole thing. Yes.
How I felt inside it, I was calm, ready. I was ready to watch it, and then when I looked at myself, I was I'm ready now. I'm ready to watch it, and I'm calm, looking at myself, I'm ready.
Yeah. And did you feel it? I love that idea of being ready. Yeah. Did you feel more connected then? Yeah. That's so cool. Thank you. You win the prize. This is an important month. There's a transit coming up for Venus that's a 12-year cycle. It only comes up every 12 years. Nestle is this beautiful astrologer that's coming up from Tucson to do this 2-part workshop. I would really strongly encourage you guys to come. I know we have 2 big things coming up on Saturday, but really, really think about this. So we've got the solstice, which is coming up. So this is the longest day of the year. And then on Saturday night, we have Drop Car doing the gong that night. Gong is really cool to reset your central nervous system, and we only do it twice a year because it is this amazing, complete reset to your entire nervous system. So that starts at 7 and it goes until 9. Earlier in the day, on Saturday, starting at noon, we have this workshop that I was talking about with Venus. So Nestle is going to be, you have to register a little bit early if you want to do the Saturday class, because she will get your chart, not completely, not the full giant thing of your chart, but enough of your chart so that you understand how Venus specifically relates to you in your chart. That's really important. Because Venus controls relationships and things with money. So, and when you ask the majority of people, what do you want? They say, I want a better relationship, or they say, I want more money. So those are the 2 things that people, that's the voice. It's real whiny like that too. So it's whiny. So if you don't want to be whiny anymore with my relationships and my money, then come to that workshop. Because that Saturday is how Venus is going to affect your chart. And then Sunday is how to make, and she calls it a talisman. So, I tend to try to be real sensitive to weird terms and stuff, because I never want anybody to be like, what is that? That sounds spooky and weird. It's just there's things that different energy attracts different energy. Like attracts like, right? We have magnets that have positive current and a negative current on it. And if you understand how to make the current move properly, then you're going to be in good shape. So that's really all it is. That's what she's going to teach us on Sunday. So, okie dokie, artichokes. Oh, sorry, Quentin's hike at the end of the month. How many people do we have signed up for that?
I forgot.
Okay, you're signed up. Nice. We're going to the Christopher Creek area, and so it's going to be really, really beautiful. So if you need to carpool, you need to sign up ahead of time so that you can get on the carpool list, because we need to know how many cars we need. We need to know who's coming, things like that. Okay.
I need that by like next Wednesday.
Yep.
So I'll be sending out messages. It's on the website now. You can sign up for it.
Yep.
So, and if people wanna, I'm looking at restaurants in Payson to go eat at for lunch afterwards. So
Yeah.
plan
So-
on that if you're planning on carpooling, or at least being with us at the restaurant.
There's a couple of really good places up there. I love Payson so much. I always think I want to live there. Actually, I want to live in Strawberry, but okay. All right.